And a very warm welcome back to the Bar Stewards Inquiry, as always in association with systembet.co.uk. I'm Cathryn Fry, and joining me as always are Lee Keys of Systembet and John Leng of John Joe's Blogspot on Facebook. Before we start tonight, I know that the guys will join me in wishing Gina Andrews all the very best after her horrific fall at Cheltenham today. I understand that she is spending the night at Gloucester Royal Hospital. Our very best wishes do go to her. So we'll be previewing day 2 of Cheltenham's December meeting. First of all, we're just going to take a look at some of the sort of current topics in racing. We're going to look at the ban handed out to Callum McKenzie, stewarding in the UK in general, the gambling review, and the situation with Altior last weekend. So, John, I know you love these weighty topics. So I'll come to you first. Where do you want to start with that?
Callum McKenzie, I think, because I don't feel sorry for the kid, to be honest. I mean, I thought it was quite astonishing, really. I read the BHA report that no one would actually put the name to. It was just like a generic report. Mentioned his untruthfulness, for God's sake, you know?
Yeah.
Ollie Murphy's supposed to be standing by him 100%. So if there was untruthfulness proven, why is Ollie Murphy standing by him 100%? Why are they not having a word with Ollie Murphy, who's standing by somebody who was untruthful? You know? Camilla Cotton apparently was the trainer's representative at Hereford, and she was asked by the stewards to disclose the riding instructions. McInnes said he'd been told to jump off in midfield, get his mount settled and slowly creep into the race. Now, as they were racing towards the end of the back straight, I saw a jockey that was trying as hard as anybody in that particular bunch that he was riding in. The trainer's representative confirmed that those were the instructions. And then he was asked to explain what was described as a very exaggerated style. Now, again, it didn't look like Jamie Spencer hunting them up out the back or anything like that. Cotton said she was satisfied with the ride he gave, which again makes me wonder why this lad's got 56 days. And the answers about the way in which McInnes normally rode and the satisfactoriness of the ride were subsequently admitted by both McInnes and Cotton to have been deliberate lies, the panel's report revealed, which, now where that's come from, I don't know. They don't say how they found out of deliberate lies. But then, also in the story, there was 8 days before the Hereford race. The panel's report emphasised that Murphy had been fined £3,000 over the running and riding offence at Huntingdon, the horse having been ridden by another of his conditionals, Fergus Gregory. The panel believed that subsequent talks the trainer had conducted with his conditionals may well have informed McInnes he's riding it at Hereford. Why are they not doing something with Murphy? That's my big question.
Because he's in with the in crowd.
Well, also, I noticed that these days the BHA are using Lewis Weston as a sports barrister, who's sharper than a Gurkha knife, really. He's very, very tasty. And I can't see some of these lower echelon trainers and jockeys who think the clap that their sister got was a round of applause. They need to sharpen their acts up somewhat, you know.
Yeah, nicely put, John. Yeah. There's the state of racing at the moment. National Hunt Racing in particular, it's not in a good way, is it? I mean, just before we came on air here, we were reminiscing about, you know, the glory days of Desi being the top 2 miler and the top 3 miler in the country at the same time. Where do you stand on the Altior debate of last week, Lee?
Well, first and foremost, I respect trainers obviously want to get horses there in top condition. When they can't, I can see why they don't want to run, etc. But when Henderson starts peddling absolute gonads about the going, I mean, it's the biggest load of tosh ever. And
sells up, don't they?
It's embarrassing. And the thing is, I mean, they always try and put the onus back on the interviewer, as if the interviewer's the one that's, the devil's spawn, and it's. I thought it was really unfair what Henderson was doing on Lydia.
Definitely. Yeah.
He was making her feel really awkward to ask these questions.
And she's perfectly entitled to ask those questions, and is actually doing her job really well in asking those questions.
Absolutely. So it was very disappointing. Irrespective of whether Alcio should or should not have run or whatever, the excuses was absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know you guys want to talk about the gambling review. Lee, did you want to start on that and then bring John in?
Sure. I mean, this is worrying times, and some people might actually think that that this is not a problem, but this has got long-term ramifications for everyone. There are two things really that stand out from a selfish perspective and a racing perspective, in the affordability checks. So basically, when they bring this in, as in, you've basically got to prove that you are allowed to have or able to bet in certain amounts. Now, the problem with this is it will have to be means tested by a certain set of rules. A certain set of rules could mean salary, savings, whatever, which is prying into people's personal affairs as a start for 10.
Yeah.
And, speaking from my selfish perspective, what am I going to do? I haven't got a salary. This is what I do for a living. So basically, am I exempt? Is there some kind of... So that's the first worry. And the second worry would be, reading into the report, was that they're gonna basically put a lot of pressure on banks to become even more tougher on gambling transactions, which again will basically put people in very difficult positions in trying to deposit, with threats of closure of accounts, which obviously I know several professional punters that have this problem already with banks closing their accounts. This will be more widespread, causing problems for families that maybe that are betting, and then all of a sudden the bank says, no, we don't want any of this, we're closing your account. It really is worrying. And finally, the thing is, the Betfair exchange, which is the lifeblood, I'd say, for most people in getting any kind of value, in these modern times, would be finished, because you are taking away the bottom money. If the average guy or lady cannot get a bet, because they've exceeded the deposit limit of £100 for the month, then where is the field money? Where is the field money on the exchange? It is dead. So basically, I'll have to look into buying chip shops and things like that, and become a chief fryer, I think, in about 2 years. So worrying times for me. Very concerned.
Yeah. John?
Racing needs to get its arms around this very, very quickly. You'd be hard pressed to find a bigger pair of banana heads than who are behind this. Basically, Oliver Dowden is really the reason God created the middle finger. Whilst millions of people gamble responsibly day in, day out, he's really tackling gambling from a Quaker's perspective.
Yeah.
And seeing everything bad in gambling and children being vulnerable and all the rest of it. And it's a tiny, tiny minority, and the pair of them between them, they really could, if they're just allowed to run unchecked through this, they could wreck an entire £1 billion industry, Huddleston, really, I mean, he's a man you could get to leave the meeting by throwing a stick for him to fetch. the rubbish he's come out with here. We're committed to protecting young people from gambling-related harm, which is why we are raising the minimum age for the National Lottery. God almighty.
Yeah.
Patterns of play have changed since its inception. Patterns of play, it's a lottery ticket. They're buying a lottery ticket.
Yep.
They're not playing anything. They're buying a lottery ticket. It's ridiculous. But that's their perception of gambling. Racing needs to lobby these people and show them, in very simple terms, obviously, what the industry is all about, because these two have not got a clue. They're talking about not financing betting through credit cards. Well, every credit card I've had, you've been able to go and get cash.
Yeah.
So what's the difference if a bookie can't take a payment off a card over the phone? They'll go and get the cash out and put it in a betting shop.
Yeah.
Maxing out a credit card on betting, it's a rite of passage. It's like crashing a hire car and getting someone pregnant by mistake. It's what happens as you grow up and you go through life. It's real life. These idiots haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Class.
Another absolute class rant from John Leng there.
I mean, can I just add as well that, I mean, the one thing that worries me is that they can't differentiate from games of skill and games of chance. We all know why. We all know why this review's come about, because of the fruit machines, the FOBTs, which got reduced in stake, and they're the ones that have caused massive problems to people's lives, because basically it's an absolute cash cow, which everyone saw and knew. And the thing is, are they going to tar racing, football betting, games of skill? And these boneheads, and I've seen the website, it is like they want to punish everything. It's like, we can punish you.
Don't you think as well? That's because the marketing people that the BHA are enthralled to refuse to market racing as a game of skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Massively, yeah.
And it is. I mean, basically, bookmakers can be beaten. The exchange can be beaten. It offers the dream. You have to entice people into the sport. You have to offer a dream at a level of being able to. Well, I could potentially make a right few quid out of this. If you take that all away and just, I mean, what's the difference, for example, between betting on horse racing and betting on the stock market? Absolutely zero.
Yeah.
Nothing. In terms, it's skill. It's pure skill and inside information, whatever you want to call it, form book, whatever. It's exactly the same. But yet, racing could get tarnished by fruit machines, in essence. Like it's one rule for one rule for all. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Very worrying times for our sports. We move on. We're going to look at Cheltenham, day 2 of the December meeting, and I'm delighted to say that I'm actually going tomorrow.
I thought Simon had sorted you out.
Yeah, Tupperware parties, John. You just got to attend them. I was one of the
ticket in that sandwich box you bought, wasn't there? He's a sly old dog, isn't he?
Yeah, that's where it's at, these Cotswolds Tupperware parties. Delighted to say I will be on course tomorrow. I'm very much looking forward to it being back, and to be honest, just a bit of normality watching racing live again and hearing the crowd. It was great actually. A couple of races today to just hear the crowd. You don't realise how much you've sort of missed these things. But anyway, look at the Cheltenham card for tomorrow. Lee, how have you got anything going for you in the first, or where do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll have a look. Basically, it's the juvenile hurdle. Oh God, look at the prices. I mean, this is you come on air and you think, well, this isn't too bad. It's sort of 2 to 150 to 7 or 4. Adagio now 5 to 4 as we broadcast. Now that obviously is a no play.
The boys being in.
Well, I mean, Adagio's very solid. I checked the opposition in terms of did a bit of sort of like timing in between hurdles and stuff like that. And the rest of the field don't look up to much at all, unless the Dan Skelton newcomer shake a leg. First time of hurdles, managed to jump like Pegasus. I cannot see Adagio struggling to dispatch these. Runs second to Duffel-Coat, obviously, and I like Duffel-Coat. I think it's a real strong stayer for a juvenile. And Adagio only found him too good, so very, very solid.
Yeah, okay. John, anything for you in the juvenile?
The funny thing is, what Lee was mentioning there, earlier in the week, I was told that Shake a Leg has scored brilliantly in words of my contact.
Okay.
I don't know whether I'd be prepared to back it in this. I'd probably just take a watching brief, but I have been told it's scored really, really well.
Okay. Move on to the novices chase. Obviously, Chantry House, the 8-13 favourite, third in the Supreme. I actually fancy Keldestan in this. I think going up in triple will help him immensely. Grade 1 winner as a juvenile. It'd be my pick. Oh, I know obviously Chantry House is, everyone expects him to go on and be a superstar, but I do have the fancy for Keldestan over Chantry House. John, what your thoughts would be?
I think we're in for another Hendo episode tomorrow.
An episode of Nicky.
Yes, because he's declared a few little rattles. Now, last time out, he blamed the good to soft ground for the poor performance. I cannot see that one running. And I think the press will be looking for Nicky Boy after lunch for an explanation if he does run.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? This is heavy, surely, Nicky.
Yeah. I mean, no surprise the going change came today. We've had it's been cold. But it's also been very wet. Had a sort of pretty damp first half of the winter, and I just cannot see how there's any good to soften that ground. But hey ho. Lee, your thoughts on Chantry House versus Keldestan?
Yeah, I can see where you guys are coming from. Like Chantry House for me wasn't foot perfect at all at Ascot. He was fiddly. To be honest, he didn't get a great ride either. I didn't think. So there could be a lot more improvement to come. Just interesting. Last Saturday, I think Henderson, must have just forgot the juice tin, because last Saturday he just had a complete blowout. So he might have got the full stock in for this Saturday. To get the full eye popping performance out this weekend. Maybe.
Funny you should say eye popping.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Popeye. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, Chantry House, I do like as a horse, but to be taking sort of 8-13 is ridiculous to say how he looked very sticky on debut. So a race I really want to play in, to be honest.
Okay. So move on to 115, the Spreadex handicap chase. I have just decided to leave this as a watching brief. Either of you two have any thoughts on here?
Probably from an exchange perspective, for anyone that does, playing running on Betfair or whatever. I mean, Sky Pirate's hilarious. I mean, what a thug. I mean, he'll get there cantering and then just So I mean, anyone that just leave it in, just leave a short price laying for Sky Pirate would be my call.
I'd agree entirely with that as well. I just think they overdid the waiting tactics last time, otherwise they'd have probably cruised into contention there as well.
Yeah, that's my way in there, really, in a very, very tricky heat.
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave that one well alone. In the feature race of the day, the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup, I actually quite like 2 in this, and I'm just looking. I'll start off. I'm interested to see if there's going to be any money for the Gary Moore Benatar. I expect there to be some money for it. I like the Michael Winters horse, Chatham Street Lad. I think I've read a few reports that say that this might sort of the trip might be beyond him, but I don't believe that. The Dam won at 2 miles 6, and he's got a half sister as a 2 mile 4 winner. He's 5 lengths clear at Cork on heavy ground. See, there's been a little bit of money around for him at 12 to 1. He would be a bet for me, and I also like Huntsman's Son. I think Keelan Woods is riding particularly well of late, and Alex Hales is having a good season. And I would give a nod to that one definitely at 20 to 1. Lee, your thoughts on the big race?
Well, I mean, for sort of sentimental reasons, obviously, I'd like Brian Ellison to sort of win a race like this.
Yeah.
Will it jump round, Lee?
You what, John? Sorry.
Will it jump round?
Well, the thing for me is this is the first time it's probably been in a race like this. Yeah. Ultra competitive. It's going to put a lot of pressure on it. The other thing as well, I did a bit of research into Brian a while ago. Second time out, Brian's got terrible stats. I don't know why that is. Like really bad, as in not just the underperform for some reason. I don't know. The second time out is not the time to follow Brian. So Windsor Avenue, I'd love to run well, but I can't really be with it. To be honest, again, I found the race incredibly difficult. I did find it interesting what Catherine just said about Benatar. I think that's very interesting. Because I mean, this horse, I know you've got to go back a while because obviously, he's probably had his problems, but when he's got the form basically to be very competitive of 142. So if they've got that cherry ripe, it will be interesting.
Yeah. John, have you? I know National Hunt Racing isn't your favourite, but have you given this one a glance?
Yes, and in the words of Quasimodo on his Tinder profiles, I have a little hunch
Brilliant.
that Midnight Shadow could have been targeted at this race.
Okay.
Still a young horse, right? It seems as though it's been on the same time. Has been running off 155 last season. Down to 148 now. Needed the debut, first time up. Ran as though it needed the debut, I should say. It's in reasonable form. Probably could be a little bit better, but they're running all right. I think 9 to 1's really sporting. It'll go handy. To course and distance winner, it should get round, although at the minute I'm doing well to get him out the paddock. But I mean, I quite like that 9 to 1.
Okay, awesome. I mean, obviously he's had a successful trip to Cheltenham before, and I mean, this is probably his trip as well, isn't it? So, excellent. Okay, that's that one covered. Let's go on to the Albert Bartlett novices. Nothing really stands out here to me, but I do have a little bit of a fancy 16 to 1 for Pat's Fancy of Rebecca Curtis. Obviously, seen him win at Fosslas on heavy ground, and I think by tomorrow there could well be a little bit of heavy in the description. We are due a little bit of rain, a couple of hours early morning. So it's not going to be a few pennies on at 16 to 1. Lee, anything you like here?
Yeah, can't knock that at all, Catherine. I mean, there's horses I want to be against, and this, by the way, would be a very substandard renewal for me. I don't really think anything's, really takes my eye. I did like Make Good until then I saw the jockey booking.
Oh, I know.
Exactly.
Same. Yeah.
And then that sort of put me off at around sort of 6-7 to 1. So I was struggling for a
selection. You might wake up a bit stiff in the morning, Lee.
Well, I mean, he decked that mare at the second last today. I mean, how many times has he done that? I mean, I'd love to go back through his career and look how many times he's deck one, second last or last. It's got to be high because
I still haven't got over last week at Aintree at the Hunter's Call. Absolutely cruise him and he walks him through like that. I can't. It's got to the stage now where him and one or two others, I just won't have a bet when I see that jockey booking.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, John.
I did look at Danny Kirwan. Only looked for a novice at 7-year-old, but I think he's had his fair share of problems. Pumpkinhead picked from several thousand candidates he's probably got for this type of race. By Scorpion out of a French bred mare as well, so if the ground does go filthy, you would hope it handle it.
Yeah.
4-1's nothing to get too excited about, but I think it'll run all right.
Okay, lovely. So on to the international, the return of Goshen, however you want to pronounce it. John, your thoughts on Goshen and his path to the champion hurdle, obviously starting tomorrow?
I don't think he's a champion hurdle horse myself. I was very disappointed with the flat stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I hesitate to say it was typical of a yard like mowers, but we got him right. We're expecting an impressive performance. He gets stuffed, and well, I want to tell little problems that we sort that out. It'll be all right next time, and then he gets stuffed again. Oh well, yeah, we know what we did wrong there now, and we could. No, you could. How you could back him tomorrow after what he's done on the flat. I know it's a different discipline and all the rest of it, but he was entitled to run much, much better on the flat, and gave him the time off. He had all the time in the world to get it right.
Yeah.
The Jellydale stands were closed all summer. He had nothing to do other than keep his eye on Goshen, and still they couldn't get the horse right. I couldn't have it, not even in a raffle.
Yeah. Lee?
Well, I'm sort of the opposite end of the view here. So, right. The reason being that the flat runs for me, I'm not really that bothered about because, for starters, Haydock was a crawl. He was 5-2 on. Haydock was an absolute crawl on the sectionals, and that was his undoing. And bearing in mind, he was ridden by Hector Crouch, who's, you may as well have Peter Crouch on. Both starts.
I'd like to see that.
Actually, I would, because it would have been better than poor old Hector. And then he went too hard and at Goodwood, and it's very difficult to make all at Goodwood. And to me, I'm not making excuses, but I am making excuses. But the thing is, Kel Destan, for example, scrambled him off 68 at Bath on the flat. It is a different discipline. And for the majority of the last season, Goshen was absolutely electric at his hurdles, barring the last hurdle that was crucial for his stardom. And as I said, I'm not saying the horse is a betting proposition, but for people that are saying, I didn't really like his flat runs, that's not really an argument for me.
If he's not Triumph Lady, you think he'd have run on the
flat? They've always thought he potentially listed class on the flat, but what I think the problem is, I think he's actually too slow for the flat. I think that's half the problem. I think he lacks that change of gear. He'll absolutely gallop all day long, but he just lacks that change of gear to be that good. I mean, bearing in mind, he ran on the flat for 88. That's no. What was All Mankind? For example, like if we talk about the flat and jumps, what was All Mankind on the flat? It's a different discipline. And as I said, if Goshen shows the electric technique prior, well, it was not even prior. He jumped very well in the Triumph, but he just got the stride at the last rung.
Well, didn't his plates get out top or something?
Sorry.
Didn't his plates get out top at the last or something?
Didn't he jump? Didn't he try and jump something?
I thought his near side back plate got stuck in the overhang of the front or something. They said.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. Yeah, thinking about it, memory-wise.
I think that was what actually decked him.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. It was literally as he came over.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm not saying he's necessarily a betting proposition, but what I would say is I do want him to win.
Okay.
From a fan perspective,
From a fan,
I do want him to come back and
Okay.
He's the only potential horse to come out with this, isn't he? I fancy Silver Streak, but if he won that, it's a so what result, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I fancy So Royal. I've fully enjoyed his switch back to Timber, and I like the way that he's being campaigned, and I really, really do hope that they go to the Champion Hurdle with this horse. They're almost taking a sort of quite an old-fashioned route to the festival, which I fully admire. Alan King's not frightened to be running him in all what used to be the recognised trials to the Champion Hurdle, and I actually think he's a bit of a crazy price tomorrow. And what we know about him, he's a really talented chaser, and looks to be Champion Hurdle class to me. I hope they do run him in the Champion Hurdle. So he's actually my nap of the day tomorrow. So
Bang.
Yeah, there you go, 13-2.
When you said the old-fashioned approach to the festival there, Catherine, I thought you meant he was going to ride him to the meeting. Set off after February and...
I
tell you what, if Bradstock trained it, that's what happened.
Yeah. You wouldn't mind that though, would you? Because they're just a little bit bonkers.
Yeah.
They do sort of, they get the horses involved. We close with the Close Brothers Mares Handicap Hurdle Festival winner, Indefatigable, heads the weights. To me, I just looked at this and gone, no, I haven't a clue. Either of you got any views on this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. But now I'm disappointed. Again, I mean, it's my nap of the day, really. Aggie with it,
Okay.
Dan Skelton's mare. The reason being, I think she toyed with the rivals at Taunton. Really, really did toy with them. And you could see there was absolutely bundles left. And there's no way that 127 marks her down as accurate. I think she's a lot better than that. But sadly, the market also does. And 5-1 into 7-2 makes my blood boil. But there you go. But yeah, Aggie with it was my best bet of the day. Now it's become like boring. So,
okay. John, any mares in this?
In the mare's hurdle, I'd rather watch a fire as an orphanage, to be honest. Not really into it, to be honest.
Brilliant. Okay, so any of the away meetings for either of you two? Mine would probably be, I expect Wild Max to follow up at Doncaster. Lee, anything anywhere else?
My best bet away from Cheltenham tomorrow. And again, we'll have to look at prices on the day, but I felt she talking. John won't like this because it's another mare. 130 at Doncaster. She's Gina, the Dan Skelton runner. Second off the trainer switch from Seamus Mullins. Ran at Taunton, was weak in the market, which says to you that the Skellywags didn't have this one maybe cherry ripe. And if you look at the form of that is going to be one warm race. The winner was JP's of trained by Philip Hobbs. That could literally be anything in its career. The second horse in the race was Out on Patrol, trained by Alan King. That was a very close third to Robin Gold, the one of it's won again today at Bangor, the one of Skelton's that keeps winning cheeky. The mare of theirs. So it's very, very strong form for the level.
Okay.
So She's Gina would be a very good each way bet for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. John?
Yeah. I like Wild Max, Michelle Catherine. I did notice in that race, Red Rum Racing have a runner there.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
And I posted my views on that and the resurrection of the colours on my personal Facebook page. And I don't think I'd better go into it on either that what I actually thought of that.
Maybe not. I don't need another lawsuit on my hands, John.
No. The 3 Mile Novice Chase, I thought of all the gin joints, looks a thorough steer. They might not go fast enough, but if they jump off and they look as though they're going a good lick, I might just have a little betting run in there and pick these up.
Okay.
And then in the 3:15, I thought it was mildly amusing that Cotton Wool Nicky had actually bumped into one of his own horses with another one of his horses. When he takes such great care over entering and actually running them, so one of it will probably win and he'll be left with a bunch of pissed off owners who bumped into him. Sad times up at Greystoke for Tarzan, I'm afraid.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're doing a new thing on the Bar Stewards Inquiry, where it's the Bar Stewards Inquiry patent. So we're each going to give you a horse and on our best bet of the day, and whack them into a paint and see what happens. So mine would be So Royal. Lee?
Well, I was arguing with it, but because of the price contracting, I'm now going to switch to She's Gina in the 130 at Doncaster.
Lovely. And John?
Mine's at Hereford.
Yeah. Of course
It's in the bonny green and gold. No comment. I get the impression Tom O'Brien's going there for this. Okay. There's a tongue tie and a hood on. Both useless implements, unless the stewards have you in to explain the improvement. And for me, really, there was 2 fairly questionable runs in the last 6.
No.
Tomorrow could be the day, and I'm chucking that one in.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, thanks as ever for listening. Obviously, we will be back next week. We'll also be doing a Christmas special, looking at all the great racing over Christmas. But for now, goodbye, and thanks for listening.